Well, you think Gen Z is bad. My prediction is that Gen Alpha is going to be even crazier because they've had to put up with all the like every generation is like the opposite of what came before, and it's because Gen Z is so like woke, whatever term you want to use. They've been very socially progressive. Not that progressive stuff is a bad thing, but very progressive, very against like making jokes. You can't joke about that kind of thing. I think Gen Alpha is going to be the opposite. They're going to be like Fortnite addicted. They're all going to know Python. They're all going to love fidget spinners, and they're all going to be dropping the N word constantly. They're not going to get.
They in high school now?
No, I think Gen Alpha is like in middle school at the oldest right now, I think.
Oh, okay. I saw Joe Rogan talk about the kids in high school now, and he's like, everyone's saying they're woke. I got reports from the front lines. They're bringing back retard strong.
They are.
Dropping that thing.
Retard never left, baby. It never went out of style.
Yeah, my little brother's in high school, and I can from reports that I've been hearing from the inside, I can definitely say that certain jokes are being ripped. I think they're just sick of the. It's not even like a conservative thing. Is they're just sick of like the PC culture that's been going on, and the comedians they look up to now, like the younger guys like Shane Gillis and stuff like that. They're letting stuff rip. So I think they're more in line with like edgy stuff. So I think my prediction is that. Because you guys have experienced this, the internet's gotten a lot more sanitized in the past 10 years, right? Ever since like 16, things have been slowly getting more and more sanitized. But 2016 is when I really was started being online as like a person. So that's when I I remember my earliest internet memories were of like crazy, edgy stuff like Filthy Frank or iDubbbz, dropping N-bombs or Leafy's here, right? All that stuff. All like the SOAR guys, like SOAR Nuda was super edgy, right? And that stuff kind of went away, but it's coming back a little bit. Like a few years ago, you couldn't say retard without having a big Twitter thread. Now, even like, the sort of progressive people on Twitter, they like retard. So I think that we're slowly, nature is healing in that way.
We're winning the culture war. Yeah.
We are winning the culture war. Yeah.
Republicans are winning the culture war.
Just because people don't like a lot of the stuff they're seeing. So there's going to be a natural swing back.
Some of the liberal stuff is just hard to get along with, hard to be a fan of. I don't know.
Well, Republicans are likable. They're way more entertaining right now online. Like if you look at like left-wing news shows, they're very boring. They're not very funny. Right-wing guys, not saying that they're in the right necessarily, but they're just way more entertaining, and that's kind of always been the case. But I mean, just look at Trump versus Biden, right? Trump is he is a huckster. Like Kyle said, he's a very, cartoony businessman, but he's very funny. He insults people. He's down with jokes and stuff like that. And I think that that's the fundamental difference, that the right just has a way better media strategy right now. And that's been the case for a while, but
did you see?
It's definitely showing right now.
I watch a lot of news and I go out of my way to watch both sides. Dude, the ugliest people work for the left news. Like chicks that could never get fucked, just fat, ugly women are just dominating on MSNBC. Fucking crypt keepers over on CNN.
On the right, I feel
that blonde lady that looks 100.
Yes, I am. I can't remember.
God, she's wrinkly. She looks like a King Ranch seat after 800,000 miles.
But if you look at Fox News, like I feel like they hire models, like girls.
Dude, I'd bang anyone on Fox News, man or woman. Yeah. They're all good looking. I'm making that.
Brett Baer, you hear that? With your sexy ass hairline.
Waters.
But no, I actually watched the Daily Show, and they were covering the Trump interview. The 3 people interviewing Trump, 2 guys and a girl, all of them like borderline modeling careers they could have had. Like they're. Fox is right. This isn't fucking radio. Like I guess I identify more left, and I am frustrated by these guys doing television thinking that they're on radio.
I mean, the right is basically running a eugenics program at this point. Like they have to get the sexiest people possible. I mean, look at Alex Jones. That man is beautiful, right? I mean,
I can't argue.
Gutfield's like the #1 late night show. I thought he was. I thought that
Jesse Waters.
Gutfield. Greg Gutfield?
Gutfield. He does the 5, right?
Yeah. I think his show outperforms, Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and whoever the third one is.
Before that, it was Tucker. I mean, he was pretty huge, right? Before he got
Yeah, I think the #1 show in late night would be the category, just late night television.
Okay.
It's Gutfeld. I said Gutfield. Yeah. I watch it occasionally. It's kind of funny. It's not like
for TV. It's okay for TV. gets out there.
I try not to be some humorless, if you don't say what I want to hear, then I don't think you're funny. But Gutfield doesn't do it for me. Who's Steven Crowder? I watched him for years without knowing he identified as a comedian. Like I thought he was just kind of some kind of pundit. I'm serious.
That's funny. So I saw not trying to change the subject,
cool.
but it was this video from Canada, and the dude he's got his cell phone as he's driving, and he's pulling up next to a police SUV that is covered with trans flag paint. It's got a transsexual flag paint job, and the passenger is a big black man with a long blonde wig on, and he gets him to roll their window down, and he goes, "Hey, are you police officers, or do you just identify as police officers?" And that's cracked me up for 3 fucking days. Like that is when you've gone too far. Why is your police vehicle like painted with the trans pride flag?
Really?
Look at this.
Wow. Oh my God.
Is this, I take it back?
Toronto?
Maybe the right's not.
Who is LGBTQ plus? You had room for the rest. Why are you ending in plus? It's a long car.
No,
What's USL?
I have no idea what that is. Wow. But I think you were saying the right's winning the culture war.
Yeah, just backtracking on that.
I would say that the left has so dominated the culture and culture war and like all forms of media for the past couple decades that like this, like what Tom's describing, like very young people is like the pushback of like they've only ever known this total left-leaning hegemony of like
they just had
pro
like
gay, pro this, pro that. Yeah. And so like
crazy.
What are the things that will get you in trouble from social media companies or at work or at school? Well, it's not, being too right-wing. And so kids are going to identify that and be like, oh, well, you want me to say this about trans or gay or, women or okay, well, I'm doing the opposite. Like I'm not doing that.
And the problem is like there's a large part of the population out there that's not being represented by the media with their interests, right? And so the right can just basically speak to that in a few talking points, and they instantly win, right, in that way.
Yeah.
To me, where the right wins is when the left shoots themselves in the foot. Like here, I'm going to paint a picture for you. Imagine an overweight woman with short purple hair shaking her fist with tricep fat swinging around in anger. Do you think she's a conservative or a liberal?
Yeah, we know what she is. Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of why Hassan was so popular, because he was like the first attractive socialist to ever do it, right? Like, and he was doing very well for a while. It seems like he's kind of falling off a little bit now, but at least online, I'm sure you guys have had the perception for the past, 7-8 years that definitely the left has been dominating the independent creation space. Obviously there's bigger places like Daily Wire who are institutions that exist, or like InfoWars that exist, but as far as like independent creators like YouTubers, I feel like the left was winning for a while with like BreadTube type people, ContraPoints, H-Bomber guy. I don't know if these names ring a bell, but they were pretty big for a while, but it seems like that's kind of sliding off.
The right wins the independent stuff.
You think so?
I know if you talk
I'm thinking of more like
radio is right. If you're talking about political radio, the left doesn't even exist in political radio. Like they're 10% as big as the right.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about is more like, because I'm a YouTuber, right? So I'm like hyper aware of like what YouTube people are doing.
Yeah.
And like in the YouTube perspective, the biggest people have been left wing for a while, but it's a big change from how it was, 7-8 years ago. Like I said, like, after Gamergate, it felt like there were a lot of bigger right-wing people like Sargon of Akkad, or I mean, Steven Crowder was blowing up around that time, and he was never like a Daily Wire person, right? He had his own thing going on. And there was kind of like a big pushback to leftist stuff. Like, Shoe on Head was really big, and all these people who, I mean, even H3H3 back then, I wouldn't say he was right-wing, but he certainly was like making fun of the left a lot at the time.
Taylor, you were gone, but Woody was like, I didn't even know Steven Crowder identified as a comedian. That's good.
That's the thing about a lot of those famous right wingers. I think Ben Shapiro wanted to be an actor initially, and Crowder, there's videos of him doing stand up, and he was brutally unfunny. But then he realized that when he did like kind of right leaning jokes for a certain audience, people would be like, "Oh, I like that."
Yeah. I think he's something other than a comedian, like me, right? I don't identify as a comedian. I'm on a comedy podcast, and I have funny co-hosts. But,
I mean, he's like a propagandist or something, right?
Yeah,
like
to me, Steven Crowder is kind of a similar type thing. Like, it's just not comedian. That That's not.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't call Tucker a comedian. You'd say he's like a talk show news guy. He does funny stuff, but he's not a comedian, right?
You see him on
Yeah.
Kill Tony? I thought he was pretty funny on there. Like he's kind of quick witted.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
If you're quick witted and you have a sense of humor and you're not like on the spectrum too much, then you can just be naturally funny. Like, especially if you're a man who's not that good looking.
Yeah. People are.
You see the formula here?
Yeah. It's true.
I'm missing it, but not your joke. I was missing my own point. But yeah. Some people are funny and like conversationally funny, and they kill that, and it works on YouTube. That doesn't make them stand-up comedians.
True.
No.
Yeah.
Of course.